All right, welcome one and all to the Rocker Dog Podcast, the show that talks to musicians about their wonderful canine companions. I am your marble-mouthed host, Tim Dill, along with my interrupting dog, Charlie, and today we are happy to bring you our interview with Mike Doughty, who is not only a prolific solo artist, but a member of the critically acclaimed 90s band Soul Coughing, who will be kicking off their Soul Coughing Plays the Songs of Soul Coughing Again tour on April 9th in Memphis, Tennessee. And these are his rookie meets gristle veteran, Rocker Dogs.
So we're speaking of Eustace, who is a 3-month-old, just short of 3-month-old Chihuahua, and Lunchy, who is an 8-year-old, just turned 8-year-old Chihuahua. He's sort of the Nick Nolte to Eustace's Eddie Murphy in our household. Eustace is like crazy about Lunchy, loves Lunchy, is always up on top of Lunchy. Unfortunately, he's doing his 3-month-old thing, which is biting.
Yeah.
And this makes Lunchy very, very irritated. And it's kind of comical, really. I hate to laugh at Lunchy's misfortune, but it's pretty funny.
Well, let's start with Lunchy, and then we'll work our way to Eustace. So going back 8 years, what prompted the adoption of Lunchy?
Well, I had a dog named Freeney when I lived in New York. And when I moved down to Memphis, I broke up with my partner. And Freeney was my dog, but Freeney was like madly, madly, madly in love with my ex. We lived on the third floor of a building, and Freeney could tell when she came in the door 3 stories down. Like she'd be laying down, and all of a sudden she'd rear up her head and start like shaking wildly, and just like the sun rose and set on Claire for Freeney. So I couldn't like break up the love connection, so I moved down to Memphis without a dog and just hated life without a dog, man. And started looking around. I love Chihuahuas, so I just started like monitoring every possible Chihuahua resource until I found Lunchy.
That's great. And Freeney was also a Chihuahua?
Freeney was also a Chihuahua, yeah.
Okay. Where do you think you draw that Chihuahua affection from? Was there an earlier Chihuahua in your childhood or anything like that?
I don't know. I mean, I think it was just meeting. I know knew I wanted a small dog because I lived in an apartment in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
and I wanted a dog that you could like satisfactorily play a game of fetch with, like indoors, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was looking for a small dog, and then I just came across Freeney, and yeah, I just decided I love Chihuahuas. Their personalities are just so hilarious.
Yeah. Their personalities are really outsized to their physicality, I guess.
Yeah.
And what's your history with dogs? Did you grow up with dogs growing up? I understand you were an army kid.
I was an army kid. We had a dog for a couple of years, but he was very sickly. He had to be put to sleep, which I found out, I believe, in the second grade or the third grade. They told me right after Mork and Mindy, which was the highlight of my week in 1979.
Right.
And it was just like so uncalled for. Like I was just on a Mork and Mindy high, and they shut off the TV and told me that the dog was going to be put to sleep, and it was really pretty terrible. So it was 40 years until I got next dog, approximately.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I guess so.
35 years. 35 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's funny to go, I obviously a lot of your podcasts and magazine articles aren't going to talk about your dog. So social media I rely on to kind of give me bits and clues to the story. And you're such a prolific poster. When I see artists with like 4,000 posts, I'm like, ooh, this is going to take a while. You have 8,000. So I didn't even get beyond, I think I got to like 2015. So I wasn't sure about your history
Yeah.
of dogs, beyond Lunchy. But it was fun to see that early on, you mentioned that a significant portion of your day is spent playing guitar while Lunchy sits staring balefully at me. And I'm
Yes,
curious,
yes, indeed. Yeah.
did he take to being a musician's, son? Did he adapt quickly?
Yeah, I mean, he he gets really irritating. So I get up every day and let him outside and get coffee and then sit down at the computer with a guitar and start writing music. And at about the like hour and a half, 2 hour mark, he gets really, really irritated that I'm paying attention to this screen. And so he's a very vocal dog. And he makes this like kind of whining, groaning noise, which I'm not going to try and imitate for you, but which is like really super great and hilarious. And actually, he will do that until I just get up and go lay down on the couch, and he will jump up on me, and then I can like immediately go back to the computer. It's like he just wants me to be on the couch for a moment so he can get back up on the couch. He can jump on the couch by himself. He's a very like routine oriented dog.
Yeah.
Like my day is like, okay, I go into the studio in my house and I work there for a few hours. Then I leave for a while, and then I come back, and then I spend the evening in a room with a TV in it, and then they go to. And if for some reason I go to the studio at night, he finds this very, very disturbing. Like he will whine and groan. He's like, "No, man, no, 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 no. We're going to the TV room. That's what we do. It is time. You do not have a choice."
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you also seem to be very experimental with a lot of your music and your sounds. And I'm wondering, is there any instrument or sound that triggers Lynchy?
Not really. When I took him from where I got him in Missouri back to Memphis, I think it was really traumatic for him. And I was listening to a rap radio station, and I think he's got some sort of traumatic association with the frequencies in rap music.
Okay.
Because when I'm just listening to like, modern day hip hop music, it kind of bums him out. It visibly bums him out. One of my collaborators, Andrew Scrap Livingston, made an album that he uses a certain kind of synthesizer on it. I don't even know what it was, but whenever it plays at certain points in the album, dogs will like look up and look around and be like, "What's going on?" Like not like freaked out or on alert, just like, "Hey man, what's happening? Something's going on. I should know about this."
Yeah, interesting. Must be some sort of frequency. Now,
Yeah.
has Lunchy made it on a recording?
Lucky has made it on many recordings. Yeah, like he will suddenly start barking at something, a bird outside the window or a car passing or whatever. And I usually, if he's loud enough that he gets into the microphone, I usually just let the recording roll so I get a little bit of ambient lunchy sound in the
Yeah,
background.
I love that. I was going to say the next question is going to lead into where I'm going, but you had another post that Lunchy was not good in an automobile early on.
No, he's still not great in an automobile. Now when he gets in the car, he's going to his friend Judy and Ben Yeoman's house, which is where he stays when I'm on tour. So now he's adjusted to that. And he loves going over there, and he loves their dog. So he's a little better, but like, yeah, he is not a car dog. He is not a travel dog. He's like very protective of me, and it can get pretty fraught if he feels like his property is being threatened.
Okay. Who's Lena? Is Lena the sitter's dog?
Oh, Lena. Lena is, yeah, one of his dog sitters, Rebecca's dogs. Lena is the love of Lunchy's life. Lena is a pit bull, and she
Yep.
is the sweetest dog. And Lunchy just absolutely loves her and plays with her. And there was this awesome, it actually brought a tear to my eye, time when there was another dog, definitely a bigger dog. I mean, all dogs are bigger than Lunchy, basically. But a dog was growling at Lunchy, and Lunchy was barking at them, and like, Lunchy's never faced any consequences for behavior, so he'll bark at anybody. He will like oppress any dog of any size. But this dog was like kind of like, it was a little sketchy, and Lena was like walking back and forth between them, like sort
Wow,
of protecting Lunchy, and it was really sweet.
that is
But
sweet.
yeah, that's like yeah, super love connection. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent for pit bulls. I know they get a bad rap and bad press, but there's a lot of pit bull lovers, and they shouldn't be maligned for a lot of the misinformation that's out there. And I think that's a perfect example. Like, they're very caring dogs for their
Yeah.
owners and for their fellow animals a lot of times.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a sweet pitty is an extremely sweet dog.
Yeah.
I just love Lena. Like I was depressed once, and I called up Rebecca, and I was like, "Can I borrow Lena for a week? Just have Lena around." Yeah, she's great.
Well, the car question was leading into, I saw a picture of Lunchy on the tour bus, and at first I was like, oh, they must have gone on tour, but now I'm thinking maybe it was just a visit to the tour bus if you were near home. But did Lunchy ever go on tour?
Yeah, Lunchy came on the tour bus for like a couple months of a tour, and he did great. I don't think he knew he was in a moving vehicle,
Okay.
because it's not like being in a car where it's like very obvious that you're moving to a dog that size. Yeah, he did great.
And was this with Wheatus at the time? A
Yeah,
tour?
exactly. That was that tour. They brought their dogs too, so it was a really fun tour.
Okay, great. Because I had Brendan and Gabrielle on the podcast. Gosh, it's
Oh
been a
yeah,
couple years already, but I remember them telling the stories of taking a dog on tour and just kind of the pitfalls
yeah, yeah.
of it. But it went pretty smooth. On your end of it, it went smoothly for you and Lunchy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was great. Lunchy was great.
Okay. So that's early on in your relationship with Lunchy. I guess now you run into the pandemic, and a podcast
Mm.
I heard you on, you mentioned that the pandemic was pretty fruitful for you in the start. Like, you were very prolific with your writing. You enjoyed, kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
being, I think you said you're an isolationist.
Yeah, very
Was
much so.
was Lunchy a valued companion at that time?
Oh yeah, like I don't know what I would have done without Lunchy. I mean, would have been untenable being alone that long. I mean, as it is, I just spent like basically go out to dinner with friends sometimes, go to the gym, but other than that, I'm just making music. So I am like alone all the time, and having Lunchy just makes life very sweet.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. And you mentioned depression earlier, and
Yeah.
again, going back to this podcast I just listened to, and you've been very open about it. Back in 2018, you posted your strategies for depression and anxiety, and just a few of them were therapy, 12-step programs, playing music, exercise, and the
Hmm.
last one
Yep.
was holding a dog to my face, which synced up to the picture of the post.
Yes. You just hold the dog to your face, and it's great. It's great. Having a
And I,
dog like Eustace, my new dog, likes to sleep like on my neck, basically, when I'm laying on the
yeah,
couch and I'm looking at my phone. He like sleeps between my neck and my shoulder, and he's like small enough that he slots right in there. It's the best.
yeah.
So
Well,
great.
I'm assuming that these dogs are good for your well-being. Can you articulate what it
Oh
is
yeah.
about them that makes it so?
Um, Being responsible for something is a lot, like no matter what, I have to feed the dog, I have to let the dogs out, I have to play with the dogs. Like no matter what, I have to pay attention to them. I can't like totally vanish into myself. And then just like companionship. And I mean, now that like the Eustace Lunchy dynamic is in full swing, it's just hilarious watching them play. So it's like, it's better than cable.
Yeah. Well, you need to, like I said, you're such a prolific poster, but we haven't seen that yet on Instagram. We need to see the dynamic between these two, play out.
Sometimes when they're like wrestling, dueling, whatever it is they do, I like grab my phone, and immediately when the phone comes out, they stop.
Yeah.
So I think one of these days I'm going to catch the full on playing vibe, and it is very, very entertaining. So I really hope I can post that soon.
I can imagine. There's just one other post I wanted to call out, and it was just a post of type, and it said, "I walked my Chihuahua past a little girl who yelled, 'Hi, doggy,' and I teared up. What I'm saying is, I can't go to hardcore shows anymore." Now I know that last part's self-deprecating humor, but was the first part was that an actual incident?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. It was so nice. He was so excited.
And did that just bring, the emotions of just the purity of a child and the purity of a dog?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was so pure, so beautiful. Yeah, just like a fabulous human moment. And that is like such a reason to have a dog, is you just get those moments in life. And
Yeah,
it's so great.
yeah. Well, let's get up to date on Eustace. So you've got this 8-year-old dog, Lunchy, who we
Yeah.
all know very well through social media. What was the reason for Eustace?
So I just was thinking that like the time I had before I go on the road again was enough time to house train a dog, like 2.5, 3 months. And then I just started looking around, and I just found Eustace. It wasn't exactly spontaneous, because I was like thinking about getting a dog, but I just found him so quickly and drove down to Mississippi and picked him up. It just, yeah, it was there's the Freud thing, the Freud quote that you should make all decisions very carefully, except for those involving love and work. And like this was a love decision, and it totally made itself very quickly. And like I just dived straight in to the Eustace life.
Yeah. And I assume it's funny. I was first going to ask, like, I've got a dog who's 6, almost 7, and I would love to get him another dog. But
Yeah.
I think he's so obsessed with me, it wouldn't work out well. And judging by him around other dogs, he doesn't really have any pals. But Lunchy, and I'm assuming this, I'm projecting this, but Lunchy has pals. Lunchy has Lena. I've seen Lunchy with a couple. Was that kind of your thinking? Like, oh, he can hang.
Yeah, I mean, he generally, if he hangs out with a dog for a really long time, he'll bond with them. I mean, a really long time, like a week or something. What was funny was he really freaks out when people that he doesn't know come into the house. So, like anybody, like people he's met 30 times, like he'll just like bark and bark and bark and bark. So I'm like, okay, getting ready for it, preparing for it. So I brought Eustace in, and was really small. Eustace literally fit in my hand,
Yep.
like weighed under 2 pounds, like an incredibly small 7-week-old Chihuahua puppy. And so I was like, okay, here we go. And I brought him in, and Lunchy didn't say anything. I was like, well, maybe he doesn't see him. So I sort of held Eustace out and like kind of waved him around a little bit. And Lunchy did not bark. And it's not just because Eustace was small, because we had a rat in here a few months ago, and he bugged out at the rat. Like he hated that
Like,
tiny little rat. But yeah, he did not bark at Eustace at all. At all. Was like totally cool with Eustace from the jump, until Eustace started biting him, which again is completely hilarious how he overreacts to that.
yeah.
And
It's
how Eustace refuses to have his behavior altered by the feedback.
right. Now, do you train your dogs? Are you the sole trainer, or will you seek out?
Yeah, I have a good friend, my tour manager, Kelly Rybarczyk. She works at the Society of Texas when she's not tour managing, and she's a dog behavior expert specialist. So she trains dogs that come into the shelter to make them more adoptable,
Yep.
friendlier, easier to live in a home with. She's really, really great. She has a TikTok which is at Kelly Pets Pets. I'm not sure what her Instagram is, but her name is Kelly Rybarczyk. It's very fun watching her train these dogs. She trains dogs, she trains cats, which is kind of a miracle. I've done Zoom calls with her where she like goes over different things, ways to deal with the biting, and like she's been a tremendous resource and extremely helpful in the new puppy life.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, it's funny. I found her, I saw a couple posts of her. So I did touch upon her thing and noticed that, oh, your tour manager is now I saw she got a couple of certificates in dog training. So that's very interesting. It's
Yeah.
great to it's
Yeah,
great to
yeah,
have
yeah.
someone so close to you like that.
Yeah, she's fabulous.
Okay. Well, I'm sure she's going to be the answer to one of these questions. I've got 5 last questions that I call the Zoomies, and those are just 5 fast, frivolous questions. These are your $35 questions. The first
There you
question,
go.
and the first question I know the answer to because I've seen the video, but the first question I ask my guests is, do you allow the dogs to lick your face?
Yes, I do. And if, funnily enough, I came across a dating profile like 6 months ago, and the woman seemed perfectly nice, but she was like, listen, if you let your dog lick your face, please don't swipe right on me because it's just never going to work. And
Oh
she
my
was like totally
God.
cool about it. And I was like, all right, yeah, that's fair. Swipe left,
Wow.
like totally fair, you know?
Wow. Gosh, I wouldn't have thought that would
Yeah,
be the one thing. I know
yeah,
these
yeah.
dating the profiles are usually pretty succinct and to the point, but
Yeah, that would be a deal breaker for me if I was with someone and they were like, I'll be with you, but you can't let your dogs lick your face anymore. I'd be like, yeah, sorry. Like, see you later. Been great knowing you.
I think I feel the same way. Question 2 is, did any of the dogs have a theme song? I know you've kind
Uh,
of spontaneously sung songs to them, but if they were to walk the red carpet, what would the DJ put on for them?
you know what? I'm totally not going to sing them for you, but they actually do have theme songs that I have written. Just vocal, no guitar accompaniment, but they actually have songs that I have written for them
Okay. Is there
that I
any,
sing to
are
them.
these
There's
available
like the
anywhere? Are these available to your Patreon subscribers?
They are not. If you're
Okay.
if you're in my household, you're likely to hear them. There's the It's Morning song, there's the It's Time to Go Outside song, the food song. There's actually like a whole repertoire of
Okay.
of tunes.
Okay. And speaking of morning, does Lunchy let you sleep past 8?
Lately he's let me sleep in. Eustace doesn't let me sleep in, but for a while, Lunchy would make me get up at like 7, and then he would go to the studio and immediately go to sleep. Be like, dude, you can do this without me. Just like you don't need me. But he is very schedule oriented. When it's time for me to get up, in his mind, they gotta get up.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
he he makes those decisions.
Okay. Question 3 goes back to the tour. If you did take time to give Lunchy something on the tour rider, what would it be?
Oh man, I mean ham. He loves ham.
That's so
Like
funny.
so crazy for ham.
That's great. Well, those ham platters that you sometimes see backstage is calling them.
Yeah, very important.
Question 4 is, do you have a dog voice? Do you speak to your dogs in a certain voice?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I do. Obviously I'm not going to do it for you.
Okay.
I would be shocked if you have any guests that do their dog voice on a podcast in front of the world. But on the other hand, if Lunchy's like really nervous or like seems agitated, if I just speak to him in like a normal tone, like a soothing normal tone, it does chill him out.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, moral of the story is the dog voice is for me. It's not for him. He
Right.
would perfectly, he would prefer a moderate, soothing tone
A
without
peer
the
to
falsetto.
a peer to peer.
Yes, he enjoys it when I respect him.
Yes. And question 5, I think we've answered, but I always ask my guests if there's a shout out they'd like to give to a dog organization or a service. And it sounds like maybe your tour manager, Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly Rabarczyk at Kelly Pets Pets.
Okay, awesome. Well, Mike, I know you got a lot going on with Soul Coughing Tour coming up, so I appreciate you
Yes, indeed.
moving music and conversation of art aside and talking dogs.
Thank you so much. This was really fun.